Hey everybody! Are you as disappointed as I am in the cookout? Or are you excited because a black man will win the game? Will win Big Brother for the first time. Big Brother will have a black winner and a black man winner. This is what I'm gonna say, and people aren't gonna like this, but this is why this channel is called Unpopular Opinion. But if you know anything about the world today, everything is being marketed to us. The cookout is simply a marketing plan by CBS casted this cast of characters in the Big Brother house for a reason. Notice, if you take a look at all of the non-black people in the house, they're all very we are the world, happy. We don't have any Aarons in the house. We don't even have any Memphises in the house. We didn't have that this season. Why? Because we needed people who would be amenable to push the cookout agenda along. Now, mind you, I'm just as excited as everyone else about this cookout. The cookout first black BB winner. And I did like the way that it went down. And I am disappointed that Tiffany's went home last night because she was the strategist of the group. And they basically hung her out to dry because, like she said in her speech, and I've been saying this all along, Tiffany wasn't, they couldn't control her, therefore she had to go. She had to be the first to go. The men could not control Tiffany, so she had to go. But anyhow, as the episode opens up, they're giving Xavier and Kyland a very human, empathetic read. Like we're digging into their why they're on the show. Like Kyland wants to advance his family, help out his grandmother, his grandfather, and his siblings. Xavier says his brother recently passed right before he entered the house, and he wanted to help out his son, take care of his son, and make sure his son was cool. But I have the suspicions that yes, X is gonna help out his nephew, but I also feel like he's trying to pay off those law school loans if he has them. And then it's like, X, how you gonna give all that money to this one kid when you have 10 siblings, and I'm sure they're gonna all have their hand out because that's what people do when money comes. People put their hands out. But anyhow, so they gave them a good edit, like, oh yeah. So then Julie goes to talk to the cookout. Like, for the first time, she's talking to an alliance that's still in the house about their alliance. So she said, congratulations, cookout, blah blah blah. Tiffany, what does it mean to you? And Tiffany goes on about when she entered the house, she knew that she had to work with these people. It's like Tiffany was basically giving her final two speech that she's not going to get to have. So, and all the guys were looking a little disturbed. They're like, why is she asking Tiffany? That's how their egos are set up. Because all along, they don't think that the women were doing anything. Like, they just felt like they were like pushing the cookout forward. Like, Kylan felt like he was doing everything with all his long, lofty speeches and his line of Sarah Beth, which brings me to this. Like, well, let me keep on focus. Let me keep focused. All right, so they go around, then they get to X. Then what does X do? He doesn't, she asks X about the cookout, and he mentions Alyssa in his speech. Like, this is about black people, black excellence, I thought, X. It's not about your middle school crush on Alyssa, your obsession with Alyssa. You should have just, like, you're a lawyer, too. Like, you should be used to giving speeches or soliloquies, if nothing else. Like, you should be good at positioning things as well, being that you're a lawyer. But he inserted Alyssa into his cookout speech. Then it's funny, like, they kind of glazed over Azah because they know Azah's been useless the whole game. Anyhow, so they end up getting going through. Oh, so then they go back to the jury house, and we see everybody come in. We see Sarah Beth come in. And, talking to Derek X and Brittany. And Brittany is still the most annoying person. That's the one thing Sarah Beth got right that season. She said, Brittany is the most annoying person in the house. She was. And she still is. She's the most annoying person in the jury house if I was there. So Sarah Beth comes in. obviously still upset. And she basically said, I understand, but I just don't understand Kyland's unnecessary lies to me. Like, why all the lies? You can tell Sarah Beth has been thinking like he was gaslighting me the entire season. You know, gaslighting is everybody's favorite word these days. I don't know why. Anyhow, but Sarah Beth was still a little bit mad. Then, but she understood the mission. Like, first of all, would Memphis understand that mission? Would Aaron from season 15 understand that mission? Like, so it's like this casting was deliberate. Y'all need to get some liberal people in this house who are going to play along with the CBS marketing plan, because we've gotten so much flack that black people can never advance in Big Brother. So we are going to cast as many black people as possible and as many liberal non-black people so they can all live together. They can all be hunky-dory. Who's hunky-dory? That's a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills comment. Reference. So, Claire gets in the house and she mentions that, she understood that, that Tiffany sent her out. And they were all in shock. Tiffany sent you out? Oh my God. But, they all understood. And Derek X, of course, put it all together. He doesn't have a name, but he put it all together. Then Alyssa came and Alyssa's like, I'm glad that they made me feel so dumb. I am the dumbest one in the house. Like, she was glad that, like, hey, they pulled it off. I feel dumb. So, we get back to the main show. It's unanimous that Tiffany is leaving the house. Like, they couldn't even throw her a sympathy vote. I thought I was going to throw her a sympathy vote, and I think that's the foulest thing ever. Y'all couldn't even throw her a sympathy vote. But Tiffany had to go because Tiffany could not be controlled by X or Kyland. I'm still upset that Tiffany played herself by, giving up some goods to Kyland. I really still don't know officially what goods she gave up, but I'm still upset with that. But anyhow, like, they get around, they do, Tiffany's out the house. Tiffany talks to Julie in length. If you notice, Julie spent a lot of time talking to Tiffany about the cookout, and Julie gave Tiffany the credit that she was due for strategizing the whole thing. And I know people who hate Tiffany, like, she ain't do shit, she overplayed herself. She did overplay. I said from jump, Tiffany's mouth and her tone was going to get her kicked out that house, and sure enough it did. It may have worked on those non-black people, but her tone did not work on the big D's of the house, or X, because X is like, X, though he plays that like I'm the good time guy who, goes to top off with all the fellas, the white fellas. He still has hood in him, and that. You can tell that just by the way he speaks on the feeds. He's a motherfucker there, motherfucker that. So let's just be clear. X, and he's from Kalamazoo, Michigan. So, not that that says anything. I don't know much about Kalamazoo, but I do know Detroit. I do know, and Grand Rapids, where the Barge family, the biggest thugs in R&B came from. That's just a joke. So, Tiffany had to go. So meanwhile, next HOH comes. What a shocker. They do 2 rounds. Who's in the final round? Azah and X. Azah against her middle school crush, X. And what even more of a shocker, Azah won an HOH. And this wasn't like an easy HOH to win. It wasn't like, oh, we just threw it to Azah. No, you had to have some agility and control to roll those balls, because a lot of those balls they missed and went straight down off the grass. So Azah won that fair and square. Meanwhile, is Azah gonna do what she needs to do? Is Azah gonna give what she needs to give? Is Azah gonna make a big move? No. Azah, what does she do? It all moved real fast. They go behind scenes, and she's like, okay, this is what I want to do. Talking to Hannah. I'm going to put you and X up. X being a target. And Hannah's looking so defeated. Like, oh my God, as she should have been. Because Hannah's the one who's had a grasp of the game. Hannah knew the guys were working with each other. But Azah didn't know that. Because Azah was too busy making pizza dough and cooking with bouillon cubes and laying in that bed and being honest and not playing this game. And not having to read for the house. Not knowing that Big Fat D, Big Delusional D, was gaslighting her. And you have to be an idiot. You have to be the most naive person in the world to let Big D, who can't even conjugate verbs correctly, gaslight you. He doesn't have a grasp of the English language, but you let him gaslight you. Meanwhile, so Hannah is defeated, looking like Minnie Mouse, like a sad puppy, and sad Minnie Mouse, because she's on the block and ain't nothing she can do but win the veto. But Hannah's photographic memory did not serve her well. My dog is whining. It did not serve her well in that veto comp. X won the veto. X took himself off and put Big D up, and unanimously Kyland goes into the booth and says, Big D has done some things in the house. Hannah, I vote you out. You punk ass. Just say I vote out Hannah. Because that's what you were going to do anyhow. Stop trying to gain sympathy of the audience. We already know you, Kyland. We know you for your works. So just be a man and say, I'm voting out Hannah. Like, X was like, I vote out Hannah. And then they're all like, Hannah's leaving the house. You know, this is the thing that always gets me when leaving a house. Like, I know you have to be politically correct and very corporate when leaving, but I wouldn't give any of them a hug. Like, you're not getting a hug from me, and you and Azah, I would be like, Azah, I would do a sealing on Azah. Put a spell on Azah. Azah, you messed up. You really messed up. I mean, insert Antoine Dotson. Girl, you are so dumb. And Big D's crying. And I'm assuming Azah thinks he's crying for Hannah. He's crying because I'm one step closer to paying my mama's bills. And Azah's like standing there like stunned, like looking crazy. Because like, Azah, you played yourself. And that's the thing. All the women in the house, with the exception of Hannah, played themselves. Actually, Hannah did play herself when she used a veto on X. Like, she played herself. When Azah did that, when Hannah won head of household, she could have put up Kyland and X, bada bing, bada bone. Wait, I'm trying to remember what happened. But yeah, whatever. Like, these girls should have stuck together. But Azah didn't come in this game to win the game. She came in this game to get discovered. And guess what, Azah? Newsflash. Don't nobody want you out there in Hollywood. So I hope you, your Instagram following isn't going to grow. I don't think you're going to get any brand deals. You might get a bronzer deal. Maybe. You might. So tell me what you think. Are you happy? Are you sad? Or what are your thoughts? Like and subscribe. Till next time.